Hey everybody, before we get started today, I just want to remind you to join the VIP waitlist for the 14 percenters. If you listened to my last episode, you learned about the 14 percenters. It is a quarterly subscription box specifically curated for women in construction. Joining the VIP list does not commit you to anything. It simply allows you to learn more about what's going to be in the box. It allows you to see behind the scenes as we're putting these boxes together because I gotta tell you, this has been such a fun experience doing this, and I want you to see it and feel it and be a part of that. But most importantly, joining the VIP list allows you first dibs at purchasing it. Because it is the cornerstone box, the first box that's ever going out, there are a limited number of them. And if you are on the VIP list, you get first dibs at purchasing those. If and only if they don't sell out from the VIP wait list, do they get offered to people outside of that list. So you're going to want to be on the list. There'll be the link in the show notes so you can click it and join if you haven't already. But okay, enough about that. Let's talk about this episode. So it is early August as I'm recording this episode, which unfortunately means summer is coming quickly to an end, which also means conference season is picking up. And I'll be honest, before I became a speaker, I didn't even realize conference season was a thing. But yeah, if you think back, most conferences all happen about the same time in the fall and about the same time in the spring, and hence those are conference seasons. So I think that too many of us, we spend too much time getting ready to leave for a conference and not enough time getting ready to go to the conference. And the whole point of going to a conference is to get something out of it, right? We spend money. Conferences are not cheap for the admittance fee anyway, but then you've got all the travel costs that go with it, and you've got the time that you're away from your job, your family, your friends, your responsibilities, the things that you might also want to be doing. So conferences are costly. Even if your company is paying for it, they are still paying for you to be gone from your work and your job and your people to be there learning something or doing something. So let's talk about how you can prepare to get the most out of a conference. So this is what I want you to do before you go, not on the plane, not when you get there. I'd love for you to try and make time to do it ahead of time. So five things I want you to think about to prepare for a conference. First one is set a goal. You can set multiple goals. But you have to have at least one reason. What is your reason? What is your goal for going? Do you want to make 10 new business contacts? Are you looking for 6 new professional career contacts? Are you looking for learning, particularly on AI? I don't know what it is, but if you have a goal, that will help you plan out the whole conference. So that takes us to number 2. You've got to look at the schedule and intentionally decide where you want to be when. I'm not saying you have to plan out every minute of the conference, but if you open any conference's webpage, you will see there are so many different things going on. And a lot of times I've found that I don't even realize so many of them overlap. I'm thinking, oh, I wanted to do this and this and this. And then I realized 2 of them overlap. And now I'm like, what now? This one's going to take me past this time. And take the time to look at the schedule and intentionally figure out what it is you want to do when you're there. Do you want to be there for the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner, the happy hour, the gala, this particular breakout session, this particular expo? What do you really want to do? How do you tie it to those goals? So, intentionally reviewing the schedule to figure out what you want to do is recommendation number 2. Recommendation number 3 is connect with people ahead of time. So this can happen to, this is for 2 types of people, right? One is the people who, if you're going to a conference and you're really not going to know anyone, especially if that's something that makes you uncomfortable, look and see if that conference has a Facebook page or a messaging group or something that you can start to see who else is going to be there Maybe there's somebody that you've actually worked with, a client, and maybe even a coworker from another state. And this is an opportunity to actually meet them in person. Maybe it's someone whose book you've read or session you want to attend, and you just want a chance to actually meet them in person. Maybe it's an old friend that you're like, oh, I didn't know you were going. Let's meet up ahead of time. Or it's somebody you've never met before, but you want to. Trying to connect with people ahead of time allows you to spend some intentional time with them while you are there. So, even if it's a speaker that somebody you've wanted to meet, figure out which session is theirs, go to their session, reach out to them on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm planning to go to your session. I'm really looking forward to it. That also lets them put a face with a name when they see you sitting in the audience, and then you get a chance to chat with them afterwards. So think about those connections ahead of time. Try to make those connections. Make sure you bring your business cards and make sure everything's up to date on them and on all of your social media or links that are on those. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile says what you do now, not what you did 6 months ago if you've changed jobs. So that people connection is recommendation number 3. Recommendation number 4 are the expos, the exhibit halls. So sometimes you go to conferences and you're like, might be interesting, and you kind of stroll through, but you try not to make eye contact. Anyone guilty? Myself included. I am guilty of that. I'm afraid I get pulled into some kind of sales pitch or something that I'm not really interested in, and then I'm gonna have to stand there and pretend I'm interested, and that just all sounds awful. But here's what I want to tell you that I am just now learning about this. Because of the subscription box, I am for the first time ever going to be an exhibitor at the conference, the NAWIC conference that's happening in Houston starting August 13th. I'll have an exhibit booth for the 14 percenters subscription box. And I was thinking about how people interact with those sitting behind the table. And I thought about myself and I was like, oh God, please don't let most of the people be like me. And so it made me start thinking about I need to do it different, even when I'm the one walking around, because those people that are sitting behind the table, so many of them just want someone to say hi to them. How's your day? How's it going at the exhibit hall? Do they really care if you buy their product? They're more interested in making a connection. That's exactly what I'm going to be. Like, I want to make a connection. I love meeting people. Whether you're interested in the 14 percenters, have an idea for it, or whatever, just come up and say hi. I'm not going to reel you in and bring some big sales pitch on you. Um, but that's my suggestion for exhibit halls is actually walk up to the booth, actually say hi, make a connection, and be thinking though, how could this particular organization that has a booth, how could that make my work life better? Or maybe it's a personal thing, your personal life better. But be thinking about that. Okay, so that was 4. So number 5, ladies, this is for you. Bring a sweater. It is always cold. I am always freezing. Even after menopause, I am still freezing in most conference rooms. So the sweater is the most important thing that you can possibly pack in that bag. Or if you're someone who's always hot, make sure it's a water bottle. So those are my 5 suggestions. I want to circle back to the set the goals though. Suggestion number 1 of set the goals. Don't just set them in your head, put them on paper, put a reminder to go back through them when you get back, and then set a reminder 30 days later to go through them again. Because too often what happens is we go to these conferences, we get motivated, we get energized, we take all these notes, we have all these ideas, we get home and we get thrust back into our normal life. And a year comes around, this conference comes back around, and we're like, oh shit, where are those notes? I know there was stuff from last year I thought I was going to do. Write down your goals and set a reminder, set a calendar appointment for 30 days later to sit down and go back through them, see what you can implement, how you can put it into practice. All right, so that's it. My 5 suggestions for preparing to get the most out of any conference. And I'll leave you with one more time saying, join the VIP waitlist for the 14 percenters. Um, it's a win-win. There's nothing to lose by joining it. So, all right. Well, if you're going to be at NAWIC annual conference, please stop by and see me. Would love to meet you and make new connections. Or if you already know me, please come say hi and save me. So, all right. Have a great week and good luck in conference season.